as part of the prophecy or the answer of prayer, V'Rav, Rav does not mean rabbi, Ya'avod Tzair. Tzair, of course, means young, and Rabbi apparently means the older. Look what word is there. Do we have any markers here? Thank you. V'Rav Ya'avod Tzair. Thank you, sir. What would happen if I would write this? V'Rav Ya'avod et Hatzair. O Hatzair Ya'avod et Arav. Is it clear when I put the word et, the preposition here? Yes? V'Rav, the older, shall serve the younger. Or Hatzair Ya'avod et Arav. The younger shall serve the older. Which word does not appear? Et. A small little word. Aleph Taf. The Radak and the Netziv bring to this point that the Torah didn't mention et, so it's not clear to you who will be serving who. Was it? So the prophecy purposely left out the word et to make matters unclear, so that it will have a double meaning. Okay, what we call in Hebrew, Lashon Amishtamat Lishtei Panim. Usually when we talk, we want to talk clearly and not say, talk like politicians where you say a statement and it can have two different meanings. Okay, and here we're talking about there's clearly two meanings. How do I explain it? Okay, now we don't have the word et. How can it mean two different meanings? I can put a comma here. V'Rav Ya'avod Tzair. Who shall serve who? The younger shall serve the older. Or, I can put a comma here. V'Rav Ya'avod. Okay. The older shall serve the younger. So apparently, it's purposely. Why? Because there are going to be times that the Jewish people will be in the Galut and the Christian or European world will be ruling over us. Crusader times and Roman period before that. And there are times that we're going to be a republic, an independent entity. Like today, thank God, we're strong. We're stronger, we're getting stronger. So this meaning is purpose. What happens when pregnancy is completed? Pasuk 24. Her days are full. It's not an early pregnancy, early birth. Okay, 9 months. V'hinei, surprise, I think we should raise the question, what do I need v'hinei? Tomim bivitna. And as some of you know, your Hebrew is very good. To say the word twins, which letter should be added? Te-o-mim. Te-o-mim. Twins. So 2 questions we're raising. Number 1, what does hine refer to? Can it refer to the fact that twins are born? Okay.
Twins in our womb.
So it's tomim bevitna. Tomim. It's tomim and not we said tomim. In other words, Rivka thought that the distinction, the Netziv explains, and the difference between the two would be visible upon their exit out of the womb and entrance to the world. But she's now understanding, as she's about to give birth, that in her womb she thought they would be alike. When they come out, they'll be distinctive, they'll be different. But it wasn't so. She senses that even in her stomach, in her womb, they were already tomim and not te'omim. To teach us that they're already different inside her stomach. She has this understanding already prior to birth. And now, as she gives birth, this point is even strengthened. Pasuk Kafei 25, Mazal Tov, Vayetze Harishon Admoni, Kulo Ke'aderet Seyar, Vayikru Shmo Esav, What does Admoni mean?
Adom.
Okay, but it doesn't say Adom.
Admoni.
It says Admoni. He's like red-cheeked. It's a sign of radiant health. Very good blood circulation, okay? Okay? Doesn't say Adom, but Admoni, a very strong reddish appearance. So reddish, yes. Kulo, kader, not that he has a little amount of hair. Kulo, he's so hairy just like a what? A mantle. Ke'aderet seyar. What is a mantle?
Coat.
A reddish coat, okay? Just like that. Now, would you please tell me who's involved in the name calling?
They.
You notice the plural? Very good. Vayikra'u, you're reading the words very fine here. Shemo Esav, Vayikra'u, and they called the baby Esav. So kindly explain who is Vayikra'u and they called?
It could be Yitzchak in the chat.
No, if it would be Yitzchak, what would the Torah say? Vayikra, singular. But rather it states Vayikra'u, and they called. Who is it referring to?
Everyone.
Everyone. Everyone and anyone that sees the baby in the carriage, outside the carriage, not on the shoulders yet, right? Anyone present, this guy is Esav. From the word? No, Esav. From the word? Asui. What does la'asot mean? To make, to do. He's like, well done. He's completed. He has like a maturity of so much hair on himself. Okay? So many signs of maturity often appear to the hair on the body, and that's what people see. So they call him Esav. He's a suing. He's like a mature baby at a young age as far as the amount of hair, the color, and so on. What's happening as he's coming out? Pasuk Vav 26. V'acharech, and afterwards, Yatza Achiv, his brother came out. V'yado ochezet ba'kev Esav. He doesn't want to let loose. He doesn't want to let loose. The hand of the second baby is the akev. Do you wear shoes with akevim? Does your mother wear shoes with akevim? Heels? Ken? Heels, akev. Ken? Okay. So here we're learning about something unusual. He's holding on to the heel of his brother. Okay? Vayikra, plural or singular? Vayikra, singular, very good. Shemo Yaakov, and he called, who's the he? Okay. Yaakov, apparently the father. Yeah, I'm sorry, Yitzchak. The father calls him Yaakov. Nothing was noticed special other than the hand holding on to the heel. Of course, this will have great, great symbolic importance that in the end of days, Yaakov will be controlling Esav. He's like at his tail. He's holding on to him. Okay? He's not going to let him overcome the others. And therefore, he's holding on to him. And his name is called this. Now, Vayikra Shemo Yaakov. What are we told at the same time? Yitzchak is how old?
60.
Yitzchak is 60 years old. The fact that he's behind the foot, he's holding on to his heels. He's on his footsteps. He allows Esav to be first. However, he's following him. He's following his heels. There's an expression in many different languages. Follow his heels. Be on him. Be next to him. There's going to be a national competition. Who will be the leader of the world as far as values are concerned? And that we'll get into in a moment if we have time. Why are we told at the end of this birth that Yitzchak is 60 years old? Okay? What's its significance? I think a point we mentioned, he did not have Kedusha, maybe that as an old man do we see this matter. As we learn about some of the character traits, Pasuk Kav Zayin 27, Vayigdelu Ne'arim, they're now Ne'arim, they're young adults, almost of age of Bar Mitzvah. Vayi Esav Ish Yodei Tzayid, he's a man of
hunting.
He's hunting, he's entrapping. Ish Sadeh is a man of the field. V'Yakov Ish Tam. Where's Yaakov? And Tam, what does a Tam mean here?
Simple.
No.
Honest.
He's looking for completeness, spiritual completeness. In other words, when these children grow up to the age of 12 or 13 years old, when they're more mature, could the two boys be identified as having a different nature, a different character, different tendencies? Okay, as Rav Shimshon Frolich explains here, the differences in their natures was not paid attention to in their younger years. They both had the same education, yes or no? Same parents, same treatment, okay? And therefore, we only see something now. Yodea Tzayid. I don't know if any of you grew up in the jungle or in the forest, but in order to catch an animal, you have to be deceitful. You have to be very shrewd, okay? That's Yodea Tzayid. That he has the ability to do, to hunt down animals. He knows how to hunt down animals. He's very cunning, very deceitful. So too will he be able to, as the Nativ Volozhin explains, to hunt men with his tongue, to say something, but to mean something else. What is the proof of this? He's an Ish Sadeh. When you're in the field, all you're doing is waiting to hunt and hunt and hunt. He's ready to do action. He's an action man, hunting, cunning, deceiving. Whereas Yaakov is considered here Ish Tam. Tam, do you remember the commandment in the book of Deuteronomy? Tamim tia im Hashem. You shall be complete, full of faith. Tam. Where do we see the word regarding sacrifices? What?
Perfect.
The animal must not have a blemish. It must be tamim, not have a mum. Mum is the opposite of tamim. So here, Yaakov is an ish tam. In other words, what he does and what he speaks is one. He does things with a full heart. He's complete. He's wholesome. His business is Yoshev Ohalim. His business is the study of Torah. Whatever Torah, ideology, faith was given until here, that's the tent of Torah that you mentioned before, the Shem and Aver, the 7 Noachite laws, and the mitzvah of Milah. That's what he's interested in. Wholesomeness, completeness, serving God. So here we have, gentlemen, the dichotomy here in the world. As I learned from my dear father, Rabbi Horowitz, we're going to explain now, there are two forces in a human being, as well as there are two forces in a family, and so too in a nation, and basically in the entire world. Let's just go right now, go from the world, from the general to the particular. Our world is comprised of two elements, Shamayim and Eretz. Very good. Heaven and earth. Where Shamayim represents the spiritual, noble, upper existence, and Eretz, Artziyut, earthliness. Okay? In mankind, there are basically two powers that are working. The power of Yefet, Yofi, externalism, aesthetics, the physical, the material world. That is, as they say in Hebrew, number one. Number one. That's the most important thing. Where, in opposite, is the power, the force of shame. Shame, which from him, from Noach to Shem, and Shem eventually to Avram and Yitzchak, shame, remember, what does the word shame mean in Hebrew in addition to a name? It's a noun. It's an essence. It has meaning. It has values. Okay? The force of shame is the pnimi, the ruchani, the spiritual force of life, as opposed to the externalities, the aesthetics, the physical part of life. That's right. Thank you, sir. So that's the world and that's mankind. Now we can go to the nation. The nation is comprised of two elements. There's the physical, the material building of a nation, okay, which is so important as well. And there is the spiritual building of a nation, the culture, the values of a nation. One is opposite the other often. What about in a family? In a family, whoever is born first, which we call him the Bechor, first, Bechor, okay? He is very unique, very special, maybe very holy. He belongs to the more godly matters of the world. In fact, he has to be redeemed, doesn't he? He can't stay or remain on that level. So we have the Bechor, and we have the regular son who's born after the Bechor. Okay? That's in a family. Two elements, the more holy and less holy, the Bechor and the simple man. So, and in the person, the individual himself, we have the guf, the body, and we have the neshama. We have the soul. What unites all these elements together? They all belong to God. God created both heaven and earth. God created the force of Yefet and the force of Shem. God created the material and spiritual world. Okay? What unites these two opposite elements together is God. Today in our world, they're so different, they're so opposites. People don't respect enough of them. But we know in the future that heaven and earth, body and spirit, will be united much more. And that's really the Brit that God made with Avram Avinu. God says in his covenant, Avram Avinu, Hitalech lefanai ve'yetamim. Go before me and become complete. Okay, meaning even perform a circumcision on your body, and by doing so, you're going to be more complete and unto Hashem. The world has often been very much fearful of these two powers. And they thought that, these two powers, if they really united together, will cause a lot of problems in our world. A lot of problems in our world. Let's look at the beginning of the Avot. Avram Avinu, he has two children. The first one born is, and the second one is Yitzchak. What force or power or character trait was dominating by Yishmael? The material side, and the physical side. Whereas in Yitzchak, what is very outspoken? Which power, which character trait? The spiritual side. However, Avram Avinu was not Zocha. He didn't merit to see the unity of these two powers in the world. No matter how sad it was for Avram Avinu, he had no choice but to drive out Yishmael, Ligaresh et ben ha'amah hazot. And therefore, which power or element only remained in the house of Avram Avinu? The spiritual, the holy power called Yitzchak remains in the house of Avram. And this Egyptian mother, okay, she had bad influence on the house. But there was, hope. That maybe in the house of Yitzchak, the two children that will be born to the mother Rivka, who's such a tzaddiket, wow, she's really a tzaddiket. It's not like the situation of Avram, where he had one wife who was under Egyptian influence, and Sarah Imenu. Maybe now, with the influence of one mother, who's so unique, who's so special, called Rivka, maybe here there might be unity of the two powers of the world, of heaven and earth, of the body and the spirit. Okay? And all this is in spite of the fact that Rivka, we're told, is the daughter of a wicked person, and the place where she comes from are wicked people. And it could be that inside her DNA, inside her chromosomes, there might be spickle and spelt of a nucleus of Arami, which is the same letters as Rama'ut, deception and deceiving. And maybe here, you know what might come out? That the physical, material, earthly side of their children might overcome. Okay? In spite of the fact that there's only one Ima. Okay? And this is what we see happening inside her stomach. Two different worlds, total opposites, are growing inside her womb, and they're battling. Who will be the leader in the world? Who will inherit both worlds? Will it be the Esavian culture, which afterwards develops into Roman and thereafter Christian culture? Will that conquer the world, their values? Or will it be the culture of Yaakov? And here God says, I'm sorry, you won't be able to unite the two into one power, where the spiritual and physical will complement one another. Yitzchak was hoping that, and we're going to see his behavior, maybe even in Esav, I'm going to be able to see a future for the world. Technological powers, the powers of the physical building of the world, maybe that'll be the basis to build a spiritual world. Im ein kemach, ein Torah. We need someone to build, sophisticate the material world. And that's what Yitzchak sees in Esav. He has some bad traits, but maybe can be used in the high-tech world, in the technological side of the world, to build a basis. And maybe really this house of Yitzchak and Yaakov will be united together as one entity. And this and more in tomorrow's Shi'ur.